All right, in today's extended West Coast Minute, outrage in California. Small business investors under attack as the Golden State bills them for back taxes after a California court throws out legal tax breaks they took over the last 4 years. Joining us now, small business owner and advocate Rob Basso from Advantage Payroll Services. All right, 1993 state law. This is what they were legally doing here. You would get a tax break if you invested in a company that had gross assets less than $50 million. You know, your cap gains was cut in half. It was a bonus getting people to invest in California companies. Now they're saying, forget it. I mean, what does this do to small business?
It's deplorable. What it's saying is don't invest in small business in the state of California. They're clawing back 4 years, $120 million in tax incentives, and they're expecting these small business investors that put their money and life on the line to grow these businesses to then take the money back. It is absolutely deplorable.
But what about what's happening with these taxpayers? There's about 2,000 residents in California. State Senator Ted Lieu said the government here should not punish innocent law-abiding taxpayers retroactively just because they had the power to do so.
Well, here's a good example. I've got special incentives in New York State for my small business. If they go back 5 years, I could owe $500,000 to the state of New York. I've done everything I'm supposed to do within the guidelines of these rules. I followed the laws as they existed then. These people followed the laws that existed. Now they're getting penalized for being good American taxpayers.
And there are certainly going to be some legal fights to come from those residents, but they're getting sticker shock. They were handed these notices at the end of December from the Franchise Tax Board in California and said, you're going to have to pay up. Any chance do you think that this goes back to the courts, defends the small business investor and owner?
It's possible. In 2000, there was a lawsuit brought. The U.S. Supreme Court actually ruled one of the tax laws that were actually passed in the state of California as unconstitutional, and basically said, okay, you can't write off interest expense that's out-of-state income. Now, they went back and they said, okay, well, we're just going to change the rule. California could go back. The FTB could actually go back and actually make this change and make sure that these people don't have to pay the taxes. Absolutely possible for them to do it.
And we should say here that the only reason they can go back 4 years is because you can only go back and audit somebody for 4 years.
Oh, if they could go back farther, they absolutely would.
Yeah, but they can't, and that's luckily they've got the law on their side. Now, the U.S. Supreme Court could step in to all of this. I mean, we should say that the California court said it is unconstitutional for the state legislature in California to agree to let these breaks happen. That if you're going to give it to small businesses in California, those investors, you've got to give it to all U.S. investors. Supreme Court could step into this.
They could do that, but you know what? It basically ruins the entire effect of what the law was. They were trying to make sure that investment was staying in the state of California. You look at what Governor Rick Perry is doing, running huge ads for the state of Texas to get people to invest in Texas and not stay in California. There's huge competition going on.
But that's small business owners. That's what I think is so fascinating about this. That's small business owners in a state. That's one thing. These are residents of California who took legal tax breaks to support local businesses. They follow the law. Their accountants follow the law. Now they're going to have to go back to their accountants and say, guess what? 4 years, we're now being hit.
It's so wrong for small business owners and for the investors in America. It's going to be big problems. I hope that they change it and they make sure that people are treated equally. It's just deplorable.
Rob, we have reached out to some of the players in all of this. I think the story is going to continue. Rob Basso, thank you for coming and commenting on it. I appreciate it.